and let us all do we can to build a better future.
And it's actually really great that this story is coming after our cancel culture conversation because just based on some reports that I've been reading, it's just really interesting to hear how cancel culture has actually really divided people in their rhetoric. So dismissing glaring concerns about voter intimidation, a Michigan judge on Tuesday, it struck down a directive from the Secretary of State banning the open carry of firearms at polling places on Election Day. Michigan Court of Claims Judge Christopher Murray granted a preliminary injunction in favor of gun rights advocates who had filed a lawsuit challenging an October 16th order from Democratic Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, declaring a universal ban on open carry of guns within 100 feet of polling places on November 3rd. However, Murray asserted that Benson was attempting to create a new administrative rule without following the proper procedures. Basically, those procedures being that she should have gone through a legislative body to change the rules of the state of Michigan, being that you can open carry in the state of Michigan except for in churches and except for in schools, in school zones. Mm-hmm. So,
not hospitals?
I didn't mention hospitals in the article, but I didn't actually think about that.
It reminded me, as I was just looking up Illinois stuff recently, and in Illinois, there's no statute of limitations, in Chicago, I should say, for murder, sexual assault, and parking tickets.
What? Okay.
Mad world we're living in.
Oh my God. Okay. So anyway, Murray, who was the judge, is the judge. He's still around. Is quoted as saying, "It is important."
With these open carry laws, are you sure?
I know, right?
Yeah.
How
Wow.
was that article?
Boy,
Careful.
boy, oh boy.
It is important to recognize. And Murray is a proud open carrier as well, so he mentions that at some point in this. It's important to recognize that this case is not about whether it's a good idea to openly carry a firearm at a polling place or whether the Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution prevents the Secretary of State's directive, Murray wrote in his opinion. The Secretary just didn't do this in the right way and at the right time, Murray said, adding that if she wanted to ban open carry at polling places, she should have done this months ago. And then one of the assistant attorneys that work with Benson basically said that, argued that we didn't do this months ago because there wasn't this fear, basically struck in the hearts of voters from Donald Trump's, call for an army of supporters to come and watch the polls and make sure that, there's no funny business going on. Go to the polls and watch very carefully.
But luckily, because they have guns, the guns have scopes. So if they can't see that well, you just look into the scope to make sure everything's going
Daniel,
on.
That's why it's important to have a gun.
Very strong thinking.
It's nothing less than an endorsement of, if not a rallying call for illegal voter intimidation, is what they're saying on Benson's side. Not to mention, we've already seen what's going on in states like Florida during early voting, the groups of people shouting and convening outside of polling places. And also the other piece is, the plotted kidnapping of Governor Whitmer.
Oh, that didn't just happen.
Of Michigan,
Yeah,
which just occurred. So that was sort of the reasoning for kind of the last minute push of this order. And now this judge is saying, well, you did it too late. You didn't go through the proper steps. I'm not saying it's a great idea to carry weapons or not. I'm just saying you didn't go through the proper steps to do that. So in another article that I read from The Guardian, they interviewed a lot of actual gun owners who were planning on taking their gun to the voting polls and have claimed that they have been taking their guns to voting for as long as open carry has been a thing that's been available for them. So gun owners and
What could possibly go wrong?
And that's what I want to get into in just a moment. So gun owners and open carry advocates who spoke with The Guardian denied that they were out to intimidate. They claim they have to. They claim they have to prepare for left-wing groups that may try to incite violence. They said they were exercising their Second Amendment right to defend themselves with a gun, no matter where they go, from those dangerous leftists.
It's like those cops that push their cars into the crowd and get surrounded, and then go, I'm surrounded, I'm unhealthy, I'm going to kill them.
And Jim Mikowski, who is an attorney representing the plaintiffs in this suit, said, quote, I feel like I need to have my gun at all times. He said there was no credible threat of violence from conservative groups, and added that he feels it's possible that Antifa may target polling places, though no groups are actually linked to the leftist anti-fascist movement have publicly said that they intended to do so. So this dude is saying, like, there's no proof, there's no actual credible threat of right-wing violence here, but the left-wing violence is what we should really be scared about.
Remember, you got to be worried about Antifa, that literal fashion statement. We also got to be on lookout for people in turtlenecks.
So if you're wearing a turtleneck and you're wearing the colors black and red, look out. This is getting real stupid,
I'm not sure if you've been on the show when I bring this up, but Antifa is effectively a fashion statement because Antifa is like wearing black. That's
I
Antifa.
thought that, like, whenever I went to the protests and I saw them, I always thought they kind of look cool, personally.
Why does it look cool? A fashion statement.
Well, and the, like, bandana around their faces.
Fashion statement.
Absolutely. I was like, oh, man, I wish I was that cool. So then Mikowski and Michiganders are already protected by, so Mikowski also said that Michiganders are already protected by state law. Those who intimidate voters at the polls face a felony punishable by up to 20 years. With such protections in place, he said there's no reason or justification for Benson's legal order, which he labeled as political. He said, quote, I think this is him. Oh, no, Tom Lambert, who is another gun advocate, said, I have no problem with someone who is actively trying some of my story got cut off, so this isn't his direct quote, to intimidate, but, basically he said, okay, let me just sum it up because this is a little bit messed up. He said he has no problem with someone actively intimidating, paying repercussions for that active intimidation. But he said that basically having a gun at the polls, being intimidating is just counter to reality. And that is a quote. I got to be honest, like, this is what I'm talking about, bubbles, right? When I talk about, like, people not talking to each other.
Yep.
We have a whole contingent of folks who think that left-wing activists are planning on doing things at polling places. And here we are, I consider all of us very left-wing and left-wing activists being like, no.
It's not our style.
Not really like what we're at,
Not my cup of coffee.
So,
It's
and
more of a
nor do I
leaflet
know
organization.
anybody in my massive circle of left-wing activists that plan on doing anything at polling places. But the thing about it is like we can be frustrated or think these people are stupid or whatever. But at the end of the day, what's happening is people aren't talking to each other. There's no communication. These people are in this bubble being told by their media and by their president that Antifa is a thing. And, a thing that's actually, like, worth fearing. So these people are walking around fearful. Like, that's what I hear in this report is, like, these people who are carrying their guns around to these polling places are legitimately scared for their lives to the point where they need to be carrying guns around with them to their polling places. So, I think that's really what breeds violence and danger and this divide that is now looking like, oh, someone's calling me. It's looking like, basically is going to create a level of violence after this election, regardless of what the outcome of the election
is. This has been
is.
intensified because of a lot of our social media, because of our corporate media, where people are choosing to stay in their camps. And just a quick reminder, in order for us to get better, we are going to have to talk to people that normally we don't agree with or talk to a lot. And that means even talking to Republican voters and libertarians. Now, corporate media won't tell this to you, but look, there's a lot of conservative voters, Republican voters, and libertarians, dare I say it, I know controversial, that are in support of Medicare for all and a universal basic income and also ending regime change wars. But the first step in order for us to really hold this crazy system that we have accountable is we have to get out of our comfort zone. We have to talk to people. We have to make dialogue happen again. If we don't, we're going to get more stories like this, and we are, as a country, becoming more and more divided because we want to be either on Team Blue or Team Red. But here's a news flash. No matter who you vote for, the real winner is the rich and the top 1%. Diehard
great
MAGA
point.
voters, diehard vote blue no matter who people. I'm going to talk to you as one and the same. Guess what? The politicians don't like you. They don't care about you. You're being very good puppets. They want you to remain ignorant and stupid. But I need you guys to know this fundamentally, that if you vote for Team Red or Team Blue, you're not invited at the table. Yeah, they'll use you as a prop. Yeah, they might show you there and have you in the background as they speak, but do you think you're there at the table? Because you're not. The biggest voting bloc are non-voters, independents, progressives, third-party people. That's the new voting bloc, not Team Red, Team Blue. Now, you can go on continuing supporting this two-party system, but look at where it's getting us right now. People are so divided that it's going to take a miracle for us to talk to each other again.